Hi, my name is Yuka Brandon, and this is my iPBL YouTube video. I am dedicating this video to any people pleasers, especially any teachers. If any of you are first year teachers, I applaud you for your passion, enthusiasm, and bravery for coming into this field at its hardest time. You are hearing so much about all the tough things in this field, yet you're stepping into it because you're dedicated to making a difference in children's lives in hopes for a brighter future for our country. Before we get started, here's a little information about me. I am in my 15th year teaching. I have taught various grade levels, including kindergarten, third grade, fourth grade, and technology. Currently, I teach third grade. I have a happy small family with my husband, my son, and four fur babies. I would describe myself as hardworking, a giver, a worrywart, and a big time people pleaser. And things get really interesting when you have those traits while being a teacher because the field of education has become more and more demanding each year. You have students with diverse needs, ranging from your ECS students, the gifted students. You're trying to meet the needs of your administration and whatever new things they're putting on your plate. Then you have the parents and their forever long needs about their precious babies, which is valid. We are trusted to take care of their most important part of their life for 8 hours a day. Then you have all the meetings, leaving with no time to plan, and causes you to take your work home, taking away time away from your family. And speaking of family, we have our own family, so you're doing your best to meet their needs while challenges are being thrown at you, like a sick family member, financial stress, and so much more. So life on top of everything is hard. And when you're a people pleaser and you aim to keep everyone happy, that's hard too. You have a hard time saying no when you're asked a favor, whether it's from your boss to attend an extra meeting or being invited to a Friendsgiving where they want you to bring a few dishes because you're a good cook. Now, combine all of it, and all of a sudden, life feels impossible because you have no time to take care of yourself. This is me, and I was in a very rough state of mental health. I recently had some opportunities to work on improving myself and came to some insightful practices as well as mindsets that have really helped me. So, today I am here to offer you some advice and strategies on how to balance teaching and people pleasing and really life in general as a people pleaser. A few more background personal experiences before getting into it all to give you some context. I have always struggled with mental health since high school, off and on. It's been consistent for about the past 10 years, and I've been on medication since. Recently, I've hit an all time low with no energy, no motivation, feeling sick more often, and just needing to be left alone. Um, it was really killing me because this was taking time away from my family, my son, who's an only child. I hated that I was not spending time with him on the weekends, but I realized that this was my body's way of telling me that I needed a break. My people pleasing tendency makes me overwork and keeps me from saying no to additional tasks because I want people to approve and value me. I will gaslight and invalidate my own feelings and needs to please others. So, for example, when my administration asked me to attend an additional meeting with teachers from another school, I told myself, they're depending on me because they trust me and they think I have something valuable to share with others. I can't let them down. I know they're not going to ask anyone else from my team, so I have to step up. If this was a one time thing, it may not sound so bad, but when this is your MO for everything, it's exhausted. So, my first step in this journey was to try and find the root cause. Some of you may be familiar with the protocol root cause analysis when analyzing a problem. I decided to work with a therapist. Luckily, I found one who specializes in people pleasers and perfectionists. It was definitely scary at first as I didn't know what to expect and what I would have to face. But Long story short, it turns out that I thought I had a peaceful and happy upbringing, but there's about 30 years of suppressed feelings that got me to where I am today. During this journey with my therapist diving down into my feelings, I was able to make connections with some developmental theorists and their theories, which all made it make sense. There was a sense of relief to know that I wasn't just crazy, but there are actual, real psychological reasons why I turned out the way I am. I'm going to go over these theories in hopes that it will give you some insight as to why you may be struggling with your mental health. Finding the root cause of when and where things started shaping me to become an overworking people pleaser was a huge necessary step to be able to move forward in my journey. So I hope you find yours here. There were three developmental theories that I made connections with: Bronfenbrenner, Bandura, and Erickson. I put a little image under each to show you a visual representation, and I know that onion looks weird, but I promise it will make sense. So the first one was Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory. He described it himself as a Russian nesting doll because he was Russian, but to me, it makes a little more sense with onions, in the sense that Bronfenbrenner viewed the world in layers closest to ourselves, and our immediate surroundings to the overall culture and time in the world. His theory states that every layer has an impact on ourselves, whether it's good or bad. In this theory, I noticed that I grew up with conflicting layers around me. My parents are Japanese, so I grew up in that Asian collectivist culture where conformity and laying low is the key. But I grew up mainly here in the US where there's an emphasis and value in individualism where it's okay to be different. So those conflicting values shape part of my identity, especially the people pleasing. I wanted to be able to do both without disappointing the other. Take a moment to reflect on your life and see, did you have layers that may have been conflicting in some way that caused inner struggles for you? The next theory is Bandura's social cognitive theory. His theory is represented by a triangular model as the three parts reciprocate and influence each other. Bandura says that the person, behaviors, and environmental factors all influence each other on how one acts. I grew up introverted because I was raised in foreign countries that didn't speak my native language. So others around me either left me alone, feeding into my introversion, or were fascinated by my culture and asked questions or pointed out my differences, which no one had ill intentions. Everybody was just curious. But as someone who wants to conform, this was not a good feeling. I felt embarrassed for being put in the spotlight, and I didn't want to be different. So I also became hyper independent to lessen the load on my parents, which caused them to praise me only to reinforce it. I stopped asking for help and just did everything by myself. And I guess this was the beginning of my overworking personality. I also applied this theory when I was working with my son through his stage of separation anxiety at the beginning of this school year. He's always been a happy, sweet, easygoing boy, but we struggled going back to daycare in August. We could not figure out why, but I took some time to really analyze how the three factors may be playing into this behavior. It took a while, but we made it and we got over the hump. But it was some challenging times. Can you think of specific times in your life where your behavior, and the environment around you shaped the people pleasing part in you? The final theory is Erickson's 8 stages of life. He theorized that the span of our life is divided into 8 stages, and there are key struggles that we all experience. And through the struggles, we gain a skill, whether it's good or bad, from them. The beginning stages and their successes determines the future successes or failures in the following stages. I realized through my studies that my struggles began in stage 3 during the preschooler, and then in stage 4, grade schooler stages. And these are the stages broken down into its stages and what basic conflicts that one goes through, and what virtue they're supposed to gain from it, and what could happen with the gain or the lack of gain of those virtues. Um, Again, growing up in foreign countries that didn't speak my native net language led me to being more passive and unable to build taking initiatives. My dad's first go to tactic of, quote, motivating me was by guilting and shaming me. So I didn't build a strong foundation here in the 3 to 6 years play age stage, which impacted the next stage where I didn't become confident. Instead, I felt inferior in a culture where I didn't look the same as the people around me. And where I grew up, it was heavily majority white with very little of the minority race. So I was desperate to fit in and not stand out. The only way I ever felt like people approved me was getting good grades in school. So there it is again, my overworking, people pleasing personality developing. Looking through the different stages Erickson theorized, can you find a stage in your life where it may have tripped you? Finally, there's one more theory I want to go over because I'm going to keep coming back to it. It is Dr. Richard Schwartz's Internal Family Systems, IFS. It's an evidence based psychotherapy which believes our mind is composed of multiple individual parts and roles. And the goal of this form of therapy is to access those parts and heal their protective and wounded inner parts. Disney's movies Inside Out and Inside Out 2 are based off of this form of therapy. And if you have not seen Disney's Inside Out or Inside Out 2, pause this video right now and go watch those movies. It is not just a kids movie. It is so much more. It is a beautiful representation of how the different parts of our mind work together under one goal, which is to protect us. Through my therapy using IFS, I accessed so many of my wounded parts, mostly the exiles and how they have been suppressed and unnoticed for so long. I was so concerned about meeting the needs of others to feel valued that I had neglected my own needs, and they were finally recognized. The difference IFS has made in how I interact with myself and my different parts have been incredible. I am now listening to myself more and being, quote, selfish, as my previous self would have called it. So, here are my insights and takeaways from all of this. First thing, it's totally okay to feel all the feels. It's okay to be mad and upset. It's okay to cry and yell. It does not make you a bad person. It makes you normal. Our society has villainized those negative emotions, and it's not okay. It's a part of our basic emotions, and you are 100% allowed to feel them, which goes into the next thing, which is those emotions are all trying to protect you, including anxiety. If you've watched Inside Out 2, and that's what Joy finds out about anxiety in the end of that movie. Anxiety is trying to protect Riley from getting emotionally wounded at all costs by overthinking, overanalyzing everything, and pleasing others to fit in and find her place. Our feelings are not the villains. They are a part of you, not an intruder who doesn't belong. You should welcome them and have empathy for them because they have your best interest at heart. An oldie but a goodie here. You can't be everyone's cup of tea. Okay. If you try to please all, you please none. This is something that obviously people have told me, and I know it in my head, but I didn't know it in my heart. And there's a huge difference there. It's unavoidable that you are going to disappoint or hurt others no matter how hard you try not to. Some people are just beyond your capabilities. As my therapist taught me, I am responsible for my actions, but I am not responsible for how others react to it. Just like we're allowed to feel all the feels, they are allowed to feel their feels too, and I can't control that. With the next one, my husband's been trying to tell me this for years, but I don't listen to him well. Not everybody overthinks like we do. They care so much less about everything. Apparently, people don't overanalyze and overthink every scenario possible to find the best case scenario for others. When I realized not everyone has an inner monologue analyzing every little thing that happens, I was shocked. There are people out there who have silent brains where their mind is at peace, and I am so jealous. And finally, we spend so much of our time and energy overthinking, overanalyzing, trying to please others because we care. It's because we have a bigger heart than others and we just want what's best for all. And quite frankly, the world needs more people like us who care. Finally, here's some actionable steps that I believe are helpful. First, and most importantly, go watch Inside Out and Inside Out 2. These emotions, they work so hard to do what's best for you in their own little ways. And you'll have a new level of appreciation and empathy for the different parts of you. Also, seeing how everyone has the same emotions, but seeing everyone has a core emotion that's more in control than others was eye opening. For example, Riley's main emotion in the movie was joy, being a happy natured girl. The movie also showed Riley's mom's main emotion was sadness, which I think Disney tried to show the inner struggles of being a mom. And in the second movie, when Riley turns 13, more emotions emerge and anxiety takes over most of the control. I think that is such an accurate representation, turning into a teenager and trying to find where you belong in your surroundings. Another actionable step is to build support system. I put a quote here about teacher besties because I have a co-teacher who has been my emotional, my ride or die bestie this semester. She and I have co-taught for several years, so we have that strong relationship. We have spent so much time together in person or through text, venting to each other about all the things that's going on in our lives. When I have something come up, I know I can go to her for a judgment-free vent session where she will support me and provide her wisdom to get through it. I have done the same for her, and I'm sure we'll continue to do the rest of the year. Find someone in your life who you can trust to go for vent-free session, judgment-free vent session. Knowing that you're not alone in your struggles is so important. Finally, I want to tell you, therapy is worth it. For almost 10 years, I had pushed off therapy because it's so hard finding the right person who your insurance covers, or it's so hard to find the time to go see someone. I promise you, 1 hour a week or even 1 hour every 2 weeks, which is what I do, makes all the difference. I put this meme here because I thought it was so fitting for us people pleasers. You may not want to feel like you're a burden on them about venting and all the things, but that's their job. They're there to listen and hear you out. Let it all out and let the expert guide you through on healthy ways to work it out. I know money is the biggest obstacle going to one, but I highly encourage you to find one within your insurance coverage and at least give it a shot. It was expensive at first for me too, and I felt so guilty going when I knew I could be spending that money on groceries or some fun experiences for my son. But I knew that I couldn't do the fun things with him because I was so exhausted and unmotivated to do anything. You are worth spending some money and your family deserves better. If anything, do it for your family because they deserve a better version of you. Ultimately, that's what got me started in my therapy journey. Don't let anyone shame you for going to therapy for all the stigma there used to be back in the day. Go take care of yourself so you can be the best version of you that you and your family deserve. Just keep in mind that therapy is not a consistent progress either. Some days are more lackluster than others. Some days are really hard, facing some hard memories and emotions. But your inner parts are waiting for you to recognize them so you can all move forward. I hope this has touched some of you and reminded you that you are not alone. You are valuable and loved for who you are. And it's okay if that sounds hollow right now. Been there, done that. I don't know where you live, but I have the same struggles as you, and I'm thinking of you. I'm here being your little cheerleader and supporting you start your journey of healing. I'm wishing you the best of luck during these tough times.